Hey, fellow warriors. Welcome to the Ezer Mindset podcast with your host, Altimese Nicole. She's an award-winning founder to the Ezer Agency, a philanthropist, mother, daughter, and friend. Here with the Ezer Mindset podcast, we cultivate a safe space and community to be inspired by women worldwide that strive to be the best version of themselves boldly, softly, and unapologetically. And Ezer is a warrior created to help. So let's begin to help one another in family, fun, faith, life, and love.
Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining me for another episode of the Ezer Mindset podcast. I am your host, Altimese Nicole, and I am a mom, a daughter, a friend, an entrepreneur, agency owner, philanthropist, all of the things, poet, best-selling author, all the things. And I bring to you amazing stories from fellow Ezers. The fellow Ezers are the women who are in our lives, who have, displayed amazing grit and resilience through their own journeys that truly inspire us. You guys hear me say this all the time. We all know women who have gone through the ringer in life and they look nothing like what they've been through. And that's all by design, because we are Ezers and we are warriors and we are designed to help. So I am so delighted to introduce my guest for today. She is a dear friend of mine. She is a cousin. She is a sister friend. All of the things. And look, y'all, she is my cousin that I didn't even know I had until 19, 20 years old in college, when everybody was like, y'all look like sisters. Y'all look like sisters. And we were like, yeah, yeah, we sisters. Until I went to her house and actually found out we cousins in real life. So I am so pleased to introduce you all to the lovely and beautiful Mrs. Vikkie J. She is a best-selling author, a wife, a mommy, a sister, a certified professional organizer, and y'all, she a doctor. So when you call on her, you make sure you call her right. She is doctor, okay? So thank you, Vikkie, for coming.
Thank you for having me. Hey, y'all.
Yes. Oh, and I forgot to mention, she's also a podcaster, host too. So she has her own podcast. But we're going to talk about that at the end, because she's going to give her little plug. So I just want to dive right into this conversation and talk about our journey of friendship and how it has evolved and grown and flourished over the years. So, Vikkie, do you remember how we met?
Yes, I do. Altimese, Nicole. I remember being at VCU, minding my business, trying to be a studious student in study hall for history. What was it, like History 101?
101. Mm-hmm.
And we was already in the session, trying to get our learn on. And then this tall, slender, long hair with her coffee in her hand come up in there just disrupting everything, just being loud. Like the session had already started.
Oh my gosh. Hold on, wait. And she is forgetting that she, in her brain, she told me later, she was like, who is this other coming in? Because she thought, she was like, aren't you mixed with something?
I did.
And in my defense, y'all, I did not come in loud. I don't know how Vikkie, I did not come in loud. I came in late. Yes, I did. Okay. I came in late and I was putting my book bag down and getting my stuff out of my book bag. So if that is noise and if that is noisy,
it was noisy.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Maybe it was the book bag. I don't know, but you was noisy.
Girl, and then I mean honestly, like after that, like we were kind of attached to
Like two
the
peas in a
hip.
pod, girl. We were like, yes, we were, we were.
Yes, and that
We
was
hit
my sophomore, your freshman year.
my freshman year. And I think he was like the first friend I met at VCU, honestly.
Really, girl,
Hmm.
I remember that, and I remember one of the most pivotal to me. It was like one
Hmm.
of the most pivotal moments in our friendship where, like, we had got in an argument about something, and like
Hmm.
you laid me out, girl. Like you listen. Listen, she when I say she laid me out, I was like, well, okay. But then I also noticed there was something, it was like around Thanksgiving or something, and either your mom invited me and my mom or
Hmm.
something,
To our
and you
house.
called me and you were like, hey, so my mama said you can come to Thanksgiving if you want to come, okay? But if y'all got plans, you don't have to come. And she was still mad at me, y'all. She was still mad. And I was like, well, I'll come. I was like, I'll tell mommy, and
Hmm.
we'll be there. So we show up, and that's actually how we found out we were related, because her mother looks just like my great aunt. Like everything down to like their mannerisms, how they sit, how they talk. It was like kind of like looking at my great aunt, and I was like, what? And my mom was like, what? And then they just started talking. And when they put the dots together,
Yeah.
and was like, we related, y'all, I was sitting next to Vikkie, and I looked her dead in her face. And I
And
was
said,
like, I guess we're stuck together now.
yeah.
And she was just like,
Mhm.
I guess so.
Yes, yes, yes. Yep. This is
So,
regular life.
like, how, like, and because you've known me for a long time, you have
Mm-hmm.
known me for a very long time. Um, what would you say has been like a key factor for the evolution of our friendship?
You know what? I think, now don't y'all think I'm getting it too churchy. I think our foundation has always been God. I think that's been the number one thing,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. And I honestly feel like that for all of my sister friends that I have been friends with for like over 15 years, which the crazy thing is most of them I met at VCU, but God has been the foundation. And I think for us, consistency and transparency, which you've helped me with that. But I think those
Mm.
are the three things for
Yeah,
me.
and you know, I would also add um, accountability,
Yes.
because I would say you are definitely not one of those friends that you're not a sister friend that is a part of the Amen choir. You are not. And if y'all only knew, like when she feel you wrong, she can be like, okay, girl. That's what she said. Okay, girl. Do you just talking, or like, do you want me to say something, or what do you need? And then I'll be like, you can say something, and she'll be like, okay, girl. Well, this is just my opinion, but you're wrong. like she. But I appreciate that, and like even down to something that most people do not know is that when I was in college, I had like no desire whatsoever to get
Hmm.
married or have kids. None.
Hmm.
I saw what my mother went through her divorce. She raised me, so I saw the struggles that she went through in being a single parent. And I was like, yo, I don't want that. I was like, I would rather just be the cool auntie to everybody's kids and go on and live my life and not do that. And it was Vikkie and her
In the
Corolla
Corolla.
and the Corolla on the way to Walmart. that was like, friend, I'm gonna say something and don't be mad, but I think you're supposed to be a wife and a mother. Like, literally, and I think I argued you down that whole car ride. Like,
Mhm.
and I was like, girl, no, I'm not. And you was like, I think you are. Like, and I don't know, to this day, I don't know. What did you see in me that made you be like, you lying? Because pretty much it was trauma, and it was like me talking out of fear of what could potentially happen.
Mhm.
But like,
Mhm.
you saw beyond that and you
Yes.
spoke on it. Like, what did you see?
Honestly, back then I didn't know, but now I know being older with more experiences, it was just my discernment.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was just my discernment. Yeah, I didn't know I was operating in it, but it was my discernment. But was I right?
You was right.
I'm just
Well,
saying.
but can I also say that we was both right? Because here
Okay.
I am. Here I am, divorced and a single mama. However, I am a wife. Y'all, I am not. There is nothing casual about me, okay? Nothing, okay? So look, I am out here in these dating streets confused because it's PP in the dating pool, and I don't understand who let all these people in the pool in the first place.
Ooh, child.
Why they in there funky, peeing in the pool,
Mm.
trying to rub up on everybody because there is so many people up in it. I don't understand. So I'm sitting on the side, on the side of the pool, just kind of observing everything because ooh, child. So,
Well, you might need to
but
go
you
to the
was right.
sauna. You might need to
You
go to the sauna. That might be the problem.
right,
Go to the sauna because
right.
the
Go
pool
to
ain't
the
where it's
sauna.
at. Yeah.
But you like you okay, so you mentioned having a foundation of God in the, like
Mhm.
kind of like that structure, that
Yeah.
core of your friendship. But what does that look like to you? Like when you say having that foundation of God, of Christ, what is
Mhm.
that? What would that look like to someone?
I mean, what it honestly actually looks like is always bringing my friends back to Christ, right? Because that's the foundation, or them always bringing me back to Christ, right? But
Yeah.
not being judgmental, you know.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, we just recently had a conversation, right? And just reminding each other of like whose we are, who we belong
Yeah.
to, you know?
Yeah.
So it's that whole empowering and encouraging each other, but using our faith as that foundation. Because at the end of the day,
Yeah.
people are out here and they're being encouraged and they're being inspired. People use different sources.
Yeah.
For me, it's
Yeah.
just my faith.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think too, it's like I appreciate in those seasons when we may not have agreed
Hmm.
or we didn't see eye to eye, or I appreciate you being open to having conversation, right? And if you weren't open, you would tell me. You would be like, I don't want to talk to you right now. You know what I mean? Like, which in the moment you may not want to hear. Like I probably didn't want to hear it, but I
Hmm.
appreciated the level of just communication and the willingness to be like, okay, let me just talk to you to see what your perspective is, and then we can find a middle ground on, like, even if we
Yeah.
have to agree to disagree. You know what I mean?
But I honestly learned that from you though, Altimese, because back in the day, we've been friends for
Girl,
20 years next year, 20 years, okay, hello. And first of
girl.
all, y'all, I don't have a lot of friends. I'm definitely that one that don't have a lot of friends. My circle is very small and tight, as you know, Altimese.
Yeah, I know,
But
I know.
it used to be if you cross me the wrong way, okay, I would cut you off. Like, dismiss, right?
Cut,
Because they were trying to
gone, dismissed, ain't seen
no phone
again.
calls, girl. Don't post on my page. Like, no, we're not doing none of that. Like, that's it. And so I learned that our friendship was one of the catalysts that helped. Like, you can't be that way, Vikkie. Like
Mm,
relationships take work. If when we out here dating, right? If I'm dating somebody, or even my husband now, like if I'm upset with him about something, I cannot just not communicate. I can't just cut him off.
Right.
And so one of my other girlfriends, which is something that's always stuck with me, said that same thing. Relationships take work, and you have to be willing to put the work in. You're willing to put the
Mm,
work in for your man. She said you're willing to put the work in for your family. You have to be willing to put the work in for your friends.
mm,
So that really sat deep with me. And I think that was the pivotal point for me to not be so quickly to cut people off, um,
mm-hmm.
to be more open, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
And it's something I've always wondered. Do you think the way we love our sister friends, do you think it's parallel to how we love in marriage?
ooh, that's a good question. Um, I think for some people, yes. I think for me, I'm getting there, right? I
Mm,
feel like in my relationships, I would be more open, right, to sit down and have those difficult conversations because I don't like conflict. Like you know me,
yeah,
like I like to avoid conflict. It's hard for me to have difficult conversations. I've always felt like sometimes I just can't find the right words to express how I feel,
yeah.
right? And that's a whole nother podcast, okay? Feelings and expression like that. We ain't got time for that, right? but but in my relationships, my romantic relationships, yes, but not so much in my sister friend relationships. But I think I'm
Mm,
getting to that point now as I get older and I mature. Because, like I said before, relationships take work. You have to be able to put the work in, right,
mm-hmm,
to get the
mm-hmm,
results that you want. So for
mm-hmm.
me, I would say I'm getting there. I can't say yes right now, but I'm getting there.
Yeah. And what's interesting? I think for me, I am more open. It sounds like you're more open in your romantic relationships.
Mhm.
I'm more open in my friendships.
Mhm.
And I think it's also connected to like how I saw my mom with her friends.
Mhm.
And literally, like, y'all, it was the grace of God and her sister friends that got her through life. Not just parenting me, but like literally got her through life. They
Mhm.
had each other's backs through, man, like my mom running away from home and that's how she started her life. She ran away from like Georgia to DC. And it was one of her friends that's still her friend to this day, my godmom, who literally gave her money to get a one-way bus ticket to DC. So like from that to like dating to like marriages, divorces, and now like transitioning over, like they're literally have been together for years. So like me seeing that kind
Yeah.
of created a very clear standard of
Mhm.
what sisterhood is. And I would see them argue in the car, like,
Mhm.
girl, like they be coming from church arguing, and then they get to so and so house, and my mom be like, all right, I'll call you later, and the other friend will be like, all right, girl, I'll talk to you later. And like they mad at each other, but it's like literally like that is the relationship. And I think because I saw that in friendships, but I did not
Mhm.
see that in romantic relationships. It's
Mhm.
easier for me to be so open and forgiving with my sister friends than it is in romantic relationships. Now that don't mean I don't forgive, but it's harder for
Mhm.
me to forgive and move forward. You know what I'm saying? Like be able to say, okay, water under the bridge. Let's keep moving forward. Let's work. Let's focus on the direction that we're going, not what we've been through.
Mhm.
So like
Mhm.
I'm working through that now because I think that's also it's kind of like how we had that conversation in the Corolla, and you was like, girl, you meant to be a wife and a mother. And I'm now at a place in full adulthood of identifying that that too is also a point where I'm saying to myself, like, girl, for you to have a healthy relationship, you're going to have to understand that you can't have those two lanes separate. In the same way that you are open with your friends and being forgiving and transparent, and literally, Vikkie, you and I have talked through super difficult conversations and talked through them, like,
Yeah.
which is amazing, like through literally on the phone in tears, in
Mm-hmm.
disagreement, but by the end of the call, we're good.
Mm-hmm.
And just the idea of like doing that in relationship,
Mm-hmm.
especially like after divorce and stuff, like I'm just like, I'm quick to cut. I feel like I'm like, no, I don't gotta do that. I
Yeah.
don't want to do that. And I think that's a place now where I'm trying to work through that, because that's not healthy. That's not a healthy relationship,
Yeah.
and way to approach conflict. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. But I do think it's beautiful that you had an example of that. Looking back in my childhood, can't necessarily say I can't remember seeing sister friends like that, like with my mom and her friends. Not that she did not have friends,
Right.
um, but not like that. Like being upset with each other, like you were saying on the phone,
Girl,
and then
it
like,
was
okay,
it was
bye.
wild.
Yeah,
They'd be in the car and they would be fussing,
yeah.
like deep fussing,
But see,
and then
ultimately,
get to so and so house, and they'd be like, "Girl, I call you tomorrow," and my mom would be like, "I bye," like, and then the next day they'd
arguing
be
with
all
you.
right, and I just be like, "What,
Yeah.
what?"
See, my mama's not arguing with you. See, that's why that part of it. Like my mama,
Right?
she's not mama. Like that's not happening.
No, it's not. It's not.
You know what I'm
It's like
saying?
I said what I said, and
Basically, and you might
yeah,
get hung up on. Um, I had to work through that too with
that
my
part.
friendships and in my relationships because I used to hang up on people. Like that was so rude. Like I used to hate when people do that to me, but then I started doing that to other people. I'm like, oh no, we got to break that. But yeah, everybody's a work in progress, right? Everybody's a work in progress.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and it's so, like, honestly, it's beautiful to
Mhm.
see just our growth together, but especially yours when it comes to relationships, because now, like, your circle, like as you say, it's small, but it's mighty,
Yeah.
and you and your sister friends have done amazing things, have created conferences together to get women gathering, and like, it's a beautiful thing to witness. And it's not even that you are trying to open your sister friend circle, but
Mhm.
you're encouraging other women to create their own sister circle, like their own sister friends and their bond, and all of that. And like, it's just beautiful to see, and it's beautiful to witness. And now you are mom to a beautiful daughter. Like, how has that impacted your journey at all when it comes to like sisterhood and having sister friends now that you have a little girl?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it just kind of brings it home the importance of kind of what you had already said of letting her see, what healthy sisterhood looks like, right?
Yeah.
We have to be the example. I have to be the example. But it has also taught me um, shifting. Like, and you know how
Mm.
like before you have kids, like you said, we've gone through transitions together, and it is
Yeah.
true. Sometimes you don't understand certain things until you have children because you just haven't been in that place. And so I understand now more so the importance of cultivating those relationships, right? Like, and
Yeah.
cultivating is growing and maintaining, right? Time is
Yes.
precious. I have a toddler. Um, time go by quick, quick,
Girl.
quick. You know what I mean? Like you have to like that's the time now where you like you have to schedule, literally schedule. We literally ultimately schedule phone calls because
Yes,
life is that
we do.
busy. You know what I
Yes.
mean?
Yes.
Um, but what's important to you, you make time for,
Yes.
you know?
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
and so just that transitioning of motherhood and that whole balancing act. but still coming back to like, I still need my sister friends because at the end of the day, she is a toddler and she doesn't understand these emotions that I'm having because she's emotional right now, trying to figure out herself. I'm trying to, I'm trying to help her figure out her emotions. I'm trying to figure out my own emotions. I don't even know like what's going on with them. Like, you know what I mean? So like it's more important than ever, I feel like now to have sister friends who have gone through it, who can say, you know what, Vikkie, like that's normal. Cause I don't know what's normal. I'm a new mom. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so it's been such a blessing because at the end of the day, my husband can research or whatever and say, Vikkie, what you going through? Like, that's normal. It hits differently when my Altimese says, girl, yeah,
You good.
that mom going girl, that's gonna be with you for until she about 3. Like, you
Right.
ain't gonna feel like yourself till she about 5. Like, you
Yeah.
know, it's different. It's different. I'm like, okay, that's good to
Yes.
know.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. And just also like it's a blessing too because when you have those sister friends, they know you.
Mm-hmm.
Like they know you. And I remember there was a point in us talking and I can just tell like you were bogged down and you were trying to stay on top of mommyhood, take care of the house, figure
Yes.
things out, and I could just tell. And I was like, I gotta see my friend. I was like, I have got to see
Yeah.
my friend. So y'all, I called my brother. I called her husband and I said, hey, what are y'all doing in like 2 weekends? And we conspired
Yeah,
together.
they did. They did.
We
They did.
conspired together, and Vikkie had no idea. She had
No,
no idea. And I was talking to her,
I know.
and
And
she
then
was
you
like,
showed up
girl,
at
what
the
you gonna do
house.
this weekend?
Girl, well, even when she showed up at the house, I was still like in shock. I was like, I ain't had my glasses on. All I saw was this girl through here with a cute little hat. I could see the hat, but I couldn't see your face. I had my glasses on. I'm like, who is that in my house? It's so COVID. I got a newborn. Who is that? And I rolled up on you. Like,
We thought she
children.
was gonna cry, but she ain't cry. She ain't cry, y'all. She was a G. She was a G. But we thought she was gonna cry. We was like,
Because I do cry
he.
about everything. I cry about everything I do. I do. But I was
But
also,
tears are like cleansing for the soul. So Vikkie, that's fantastic.
but ultimately, is we cried that night though. You know what
We
I'm
did.
saying? We
We
did.
did.
We didn't cry then.
Yeah,
Because we
we
had
didn't
to.
cry at the beginning. But when we got to the hotel and we was talking,
We did.
then we
We
just let
did.
it out. We
We let
did.
it
We
all
did.
out.
And I didn't realize how much I needed
Mm,
that too. Like
yeah.
it was so oh my god, it was so refreshing. Like
Yes.
it's great to talk to you on the phone, but like to be able to like hug you
Yes.
and
Yes.
like and it's so crazy like I've also identified too that like in romantic relationships I'm not very big on like physical touch.
Mm-hmm.
However, with my friends, very much so. Like it is nothing to be walking next to you and like link arms with you, be like, "Hey girl." Like I do that
Yeah.
quite frequently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, just me thinking out loud about, girl, you
Yeah.
got to work on that too. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
like knowing your friends, and I knew that my sister friend, she just needed to get away. It wasn't even, it wasn't a lot. I think it was like just for Friday and Saturday, and I brought you back on a Sunday, so it was like a
Mm-hmm.
day and a half maybe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
I
but it
needed
was
it
it was
though.
needed. Oh, girl,
Yeah.
you say
I
you
didn't
needed
know
it.
I needed
I
it.
needed it. Oh,
Yeah, I didn't know I needed it, but like I needed it. And that's the importance of, you know what I mean? And sticking it
yeah,
out. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Um, but you
I
don't get
cannot
that.
imagine
Yeah.
if those seasons we had in our earlier years of friendship. I cannot imagine how my life would look today had I not been persistent with like checking in And like, cause again, like Vikkie was very clear. Like at the beginning, she can cut you off and be going about her day, going about her life. She'd be just fine. Literally, there's no, no love lost or nothing. But she not gonna be like
Yeah.
wondering and thinking like she gonna be out. And
I'm
I
already
was the
reminding
one,
you.
right, right. And see, and I am the one. I am that girl that will be like, hey, just
Mhm.
thinking of you, like that
Mhm.
kind of thing. And I
Yeah.
can't imagine had I not done that and you not be in my life.
Yeah. I feel the same way. I feel the same way.
Like, cause there are so many pivotal moments in my life that you are a part of, and like our stories and our journeys have intertwined together in that, to where like I couldn't even imagine.
No,
Like,
I couldn't either. I mean, we didn't grow up together, from K to 12, but I feel like we grew up together in
yeah,
adulthood.
yes,
If that makes
yes,
sense. I was
yes.
18 when I met you, so you were what, 19?
19.
Like
Mm-hmm.
we were babies. We were
Yeah.
babies. Yeah.
Girl, babies thinking we was grown. Do
We
you
was grown,
understand?
girl. Oh no,
Girl, you
don't
couldn't
take me
tell me
back, girl.
nothing.
No, don't take me way back. Altimese, y'all took me to my first house party.
Ah!
And the last one that I went to, it
And
was
the
the first
last
one
one. Cause
because
you
they stole
lost
my
cause
phone.
somebody took your phone,
And they
and
like
like,
pickpocketed me. I'm just like, oh, seriously.
and y'all, no lie, after that she was like, you know what? That is a sign. God is telling me I don't need to do that ever again. I'm not. And I'm like, Vikkie, like, girl, we gotta have fun. And she was
I
like,
was
no.
like,
She was like, I'm done. I'm good with that. I'm good. Like,
and it was a Sigma party too. I remember it was a Sigma party. I was like, no, Had to go to Verizon the next day. They charged up my phone like $200. I was like, really?
cause yeah,
Okay.
because then at that time, that's when Verizon had the like after 9, where like that's when it became free.
Yes, yes,
Ooh,
yes,
girl.
yes.
Oh my god, you remember my high school boyfriend that
Mhm.
came to the school and took us
Mhm.
grocery shopping?
Mhm.
Girl, I ran my bill up with him too, cause it was, yeah, I didn't realize it. We grown, but we not grown.
We're not
And they
grown.
really mean that, it's not free until 9. I didn't,
Yeah.
I wasn't calculating the minutes, but they were, you know. And I still remember, like, my mama called me, like, Nicole, like, who you talking to? I was like, what? I have a $500 bill in my hand, and I ain't paying this. What, girl? What? I said, what you mean you're not paying it? She was like, I ain't do this, so you gonna have to figure this out. And that was like a real
Oh, see,
moment.
that is unacceptable because back then we still had our landlines, so I don't know why you wasn't using that room phone on
We
campus.
did. I don't know. Why was I not? I don't
Why?
know.
You had a corporate
Girl,
phone. Like, why was you not using
girl,
that
I don't
corporate
know. Probably because, well, you were in an apartment. I was in them dorms. So like there was no such thing as privacy, y'all. Like none. Unless you went into like the little stairwell and like
phone?
sat on the steps.
Oh,
So, and
okay.
that's probably why I was using my phone. I'm just
Oh,
guessing. But
that's
we
a
yeah,
good
we was
explanation. You right. You right. I was in an apartment, different experience. You right.
yeah, but your apartment was nice, girl, cuz I would go there to just get away. Get away. Even though my what you call them? Not neighbors, because that's what you have when you have a like actual place to stay.
Your roommate?
Roommate. Yeah. My roommates, all my roommates were cool except for one.
Oh gosh.
But like even then, like I love her. I love her. But yeah, I only fell out with like one.
I know who you talking
But
about.
even then, huh? You
I
do,
know what
you
you
do,
talking
girl, you do.
about.
Cause look, okay, so how I operate, I am so like loving and like yes, yes, yes. But over time, if I'm like giving and giving and giving and giving, and then I notice that like none of it is reciprocated,
Yeah.
and like you making really silly decisions, and I'm like, girl, don't do that, and you just keep doing it, I'd be like, this equation seems a bit off. I just will sit, and I would eventually just, it's like a light bulb switch goes off, and I'm like, okay, I'm out, I'm done. And it just, it takes a much longer time for me
Than it does
than,
for me.
yes. Yours is quick. Yours is like, I don't see it, I'm out.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what I will say though, because of that, that's a quality that I admired in you, because you honestly had some like quality relationships in your life. It was very few times people got in that were like iffy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like there's positives to both sides.
Yeah. 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 It's
Cause
growth.
yeah.
It's growth because I mean, later on in life, God was like, "Oh, okay, I'm about to check you because you can't keep cutting people off." Oh, child, when he did it, it was not fun. But you know who I'm talking about, and you know who I'm
Yeah.
talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that's another thing about friendships. I had, because I'm
Mm,
an all or none person. And that's where the
yeah.
cutting off comes off, right? Like if I'm in it, I'm in it like 110%. And I can be very black and white, as you know. I had to learn there's different levels there of
Mm,
intimacy to friendships.
yes.
And that was
Yes.
a difficult concept for me. But I had to learn it and accept it. And so
Mm,
I had to do some growth in that area. So
mm-hmm.
everybody doesn't get the level of intimacy that Altimese
Yes.
gets,
Yes.
you
And
know?
you know what? I had to learn the same thing. And I
Hmm.
feel like it was on the opposite side. You know what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? Because I would give everybody. Why you giving me that face?
Y'all,
Why
if
you
y'all knew
giving me
the
that
amount of people that Altimese would just be coming all up and through, this my best friend, and I'd be looking like, oh, we just met her. Oh, okay, y'all best friends. And you're like, yeah, you know I'm not lying.
face?
You don't had at least two. You don't had at least two
I
best
know.
friends. Y'all ain't friends
Three.
no more. That's all I'm gonna say.
Three.
That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna say.
Yeah. And look, and Vicky will be like, I'll be like, oh, this my best friend, and Vicky will be like, and who is this? What's her name? What's her
How did
name?
y'all meet?
How y'all meet again? Oh, okay. Oh, I ain't never heard of her before. And
Mm,
but so I had to learn the same like message from
mm,
God on the other side, because I was just, I don't know, and I'm learning to this very day. I think it's connected to my need to please,
mhm,
which is connected to validation, and it's also connected
um,
to feeling worthy, like
mhm,
me wanting the acceptance to feel worthy.
mhm.
And you got to strip that away,
Yeah.
because you're worthy whether they like you or not. I'm
Mhm.
worthy whether this person stay in my life or nah.
Yeah.
Like, and I had to, like, I'm in that process literally right now.
Yeah.
And um but I had to go through it and understanding the very thing you just mentioned. There are layers, there are levels to this friendship thing. And
Yeah.
just because you say somebody is a friend, friend A, sister friend A may not get the same level of access as sister friend B. And that's okay. You know what I'm saying? That's
Yep.
all right. You
Yep.
know?
Yep.
Sister friend B done put in the work, the effort. She done prayed with you,
Yeah.
cried with you, sat
Mhm.
there with you. Sister friend A go to events with you and be like, "Oh girl, you look cute." You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So
Exactly.
like we literally had to learn the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm getting better at it, but I also think that there are remnants, and I also think that it shows up in my business.
Mhm.
It
Yeah.
shows up in my business and how I operate business. it shows
Yeah.
up there.
Yeah. You know what? I would say same thing for me because I am. You always say, Vikkie, you're so private. You're a private person. You would say that, but I'm friendly. Like everybody always say, like, oh, you have such a bubbly personality. Like, what do you mean? But I am a private person. You're right about that. And so for me, it's been a challenge stepping into the entrepreneur space and like putting myself out there. I don't like to talk about myself. It's hard, like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's hard for me. So it's hard to sell myself. And as an entrepreneur, a lot of times you do have to sell yourself to connect with your audience, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
definitely understand you. So here I am on the opposite end, right, of what
Yeah.
you're saying. So yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
Yeah.
isn't it amazing in life how like you can have one issue that can stem from one situation, but then it kind of
It
pours
all over.
all up and through. And that's what I've learned too. I've learned that a lot, like after I got married and then coming into motherhood. Maybe it's just the
Yeah.
season. Like I was like, oh, you ready to like dig in deep, for
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
Thus, you need to go to counseling. But that's a whole nother podcast too. Um, but it's true.
Yeah.
But it's true. Um, but it's
Yeah.
also helpful having sister friends around you that they allow you to have that space to be able to say that, right? Like I know we're on a podcast, but before broadcast, it's like you knew like he was in counseling. You know what I'm saying? Like you,
Yeah.
it's important to have those those spaces,
Yes.
that
Yes.
level of intimacy, because that's really what it is, and a
Yeah.
judge free zone. Like I feel like I
Hmm.
could come to you and never have to worry about being judged, and
Yeah.
knowing that you're always coming from a good place. But maybe sometimes I don't necessarily receive that because maybe it's the way that you said it, or maybe I'm in some kind of mood or whatever have you. But
Yeah.
again, we always go back to the basics. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying?
Yes.
We always know that there's
Yes.
love there. We know each
Yes.
other's track records in this friendship,
Yes.
you know?
Yes.
And I think that's what kind of allows us to continuously to cultivate this friendship. You know what I mean? Because you can't have
Yeah.
a friendship for over 20 years and it's not continuously growing. You're not continually trying
Mm.
to maintain what you have. Like I just feel like that's just nearly impossible. Do you agree? Like
Right. Yeah.
that's nearly
Absolutely.
impossible, even with like being busy.
Yeah. Absolutely. 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 And I think that um, in that process of the evolution in that space that you talked about, like seasons change. And
Mhm.
when them seasons change, it is so crucial as a friend
Mhm.
to just honor those different seasons,
Yeah.
right? Like just honor the different seasons and flow. Because I remember I was that friend, never missed a birthday,
Mhm.
always remembered
Yep.
important dates and all
Yep.
that. But child, my daughter came, and I still remember that first year. I had so much guilt because I was missing everybody's anniversaries. I was
Oh.
missing birthdays. And it was like weighing on me. And my friends were like, "Girl, you good? Like we know you love us." And I'm just like, "But I missed your anniversary." Like, but that was a season
Mhm.
because motherhood is hard.
Mm.
Like your brain is trying to keep a human alive, that
Girl.
that part.
And we
So
all need an Emmy for that, okay?
yeah, listen, and I'm just grateful the child ain't hurt herself somewhere. Like, and I'm not. Some people be like, you got to make sure they have their vegetables and make sure they have this and that. My child lived off of nuggets for six for 6 months. That's all she ate. Nuggets and
Girl.
ketchup. Do you understand? And I ain't fuss with her. I said, "Girl, you want you some more nuggets?" "Yes, I want nuggets." "Okay." And literally, Vikkie, like 2 days ago, I was like, "You want to try this chicken, corn, and broccoli?" And she was like, "Well, yes, mommy. Give me some of that chicken, broccoli, and corn." I said, "Come on with it." And she ate it all.
Yes. Mommy will. Mommy will.
Yeah, she ate it all. But it's like those are seasons, and in the same way we watch our children develop
Mm-hmm.
and hit different milestones, and we give them the space to
Yes.
discover and evolve.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with your friends because we're humans. We're human beings. And nobody got a manual to this. Nobody knows.
Can I just say this one thing though? It's
Yes.
communication. You have to
Yes.
communicate that. I think that's the missing in
Mm.
a lot of friendships. And though some say, well, that's just common sense. You had a baby. Like, you need to have these conversations because my
Mm.
level of being able to keep up might be different. And what I mean by keep up is like, so you know me, like I'm good with texting, checking
Yeah.
in every so often. That has slowly dwindled down after
Yeah.
having a, you know what I'm saying? But having
Yeah.
those conversations so that your friends know, like it's not personal, but this is what's going on. So that then they then don't have that same expectation as they did in a different season. Because you change
Yes.
in your seasons, but you still have to communicate. Oh, I'm in a different season. Like we can't assume is
Ooh.
what I'm saying. That's so
Yes. You're so
important.
right.
It's
You're
so
so right.
important.
I lost a friend because I didn't.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
lost a friend because I didn't.
Mhm.
She thought things were grand and life was
Mhm.
great and all of
Mhm.
this, and I was going through the process of trying to decide whether or not, I was supposed to stay in my marriage or not. And she had no idea. And she
Mhm.
was thinking like, "Oh, well you didn't know, you didn't call me when, my father passed and all of
Mhm.
these things and the
Mhm.
the anniversary of his passing and all of that." And I'm thinking like, "Girl, if you only knew the stuff." But I didn't communicate it. I
Yeah.
didn't communicate it. I was in my own little bubble trying to figure things out. So
Yeah.
that's a beautiful, great point. And I'm
Yeah.
grateful that we have communicated over the
Yes.
years,
Yes.
in those different seasons.
Mhm.
And
Well,
sometimes it comes out like, sometimes it comes out in moments where we like, "What is wrong with you, girl? I don't know what's wrong with me. I think it's this," and then it be like that, or it could just be a text and
yeah.
just be like, "I know you ain't heard from me.
Yes.
I'm all
And
right, but just
mhm.
give me a minute." You
Yep, just
know?
checking in. Just
Yeah.
checking in. I met a friend, let me see, was it 2019-ish? And at a bachelorette party, right? So this is a new
Yeah.
friend compared to our friendship, right? One things I respect so much about this young woman is when it was time to go, because we like hit it off right away, right? She was like, "Look, I would love to keep in contact with you, but you might text me or call me and you might not hear from me in 2 weeks because I'm just that busy." And I looked at her and I said,
Mm.
"But you know what, girl? I can respect that. I can respect
Yes.
that. Like that's
Mm.
all you can do. Like how much more fulfilling would relationships be, right? If we could
Right.
just get to that point,
Yes.
right?"
Yes. Yes. And that kind of like it shares intention,
Mm-hmm.
because she said, I would love to cultivate a
Yeah.
relationship with you, but it also maintained expectations of what that would look like.
Yes. Yes.
That's absolutely wonderful. That's
Yes.
wonderful. And that
Yes.
goes across the board, whether it's sisterhood, romantic relationships,
Yes.
family, right?
Mm.
We have got to understand, just because they family, that don't mean that they know. That doesn't
Yes.
mean that the expectations are the same. We still have to
Yes.
communicate and
Yes.
implement boundaries when necessary.
That was the word I was gonna use. Yes, boundaries. Yes,
Mm. Do
yes,
you
that's
have
important.
boundaries in your friendships?
Girl, you know I do.
I
You,
do. I know. Look, look.
they
That was
don't
me.
know, but you know.
I was going, Vikkie. Yeah, cause I know him. I know
Yeah,
him, y'all, and
yeah,
she's
yeah.
helped me in understanding that I need them,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm just not some. Cause I used to feel like people came in my life like I was a book, which means
Yes.
they can literally, you know, we in a chapter in my life. They read in the story. They are part of the story, and they say, "I don't want to be a part of this book no more. I'm gonna go and put it back on the shelf."
Yes.
And they put me on the shelf. They go on with their life. They do, have their little happy whatever seasons, whatever they in, and then they
Yep.
come back like, there's this book over here. Let me go and pick that up. Let me go.
Mm-hmm.
And because I lacked boundaries, it's as if they were given the permission to just pick me up whenever they wanted and drop me whenever they wanted. So it was Vikkie who really helped me to understand, like, no, like, you can't just pop in and pop out whenever you want and expect it to be the same, especially if we don't have the fundamental foundation that keeps us rooted while seasons change. Like, no, you don't get that. So, like, Vikkie, how did you, like, girl, share some of your boundaries. Like, how do you implement them? Like, how did you realize, like, oh, this is a boundary spot for me? Like, tell us, how did you do that?
Alti, it's real simple for me, okay? It ain't no long list. You know I'm black and white when it comes to a lot of things, y'all. So it ain't about to be as deep as she wanted to be. When I was in high school, my best friend at the time, her aunt, and we spent a lot of time together, me and my best friend. We were hanging out with her aunt, and I don't know what brought this up, but she looked at us and she said, like, I know y'all are best friends. She said, maybe we was watching TV or something, and she was like, but you never tell your best friend every single thing. You never tell nobody every single thing. And I was like, not either. We were like maybe in 11th grade, but it's something when she said that stuck with me. And I think that was the beginning of me learning how to kind of create boundaries, like, but not necessarily specific boundaries or just like said boundaries.
Yeah.
I always remember that. So I'm not going to be an open book, you know? And I think that's helped me because, you know, as a married woman, I can't be an open book. There's just some things that are just specific for me and my husband.
Right.
You know?
Right, absolutely.
But just also knowing too, like, you know, what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with inside the, you know what I mean? With the inside of the friendships. And that's been a growth thing for me too, because I'm not always as verbal. You know, I do have a little bit of that people pleasing in me too. You know, I want to make people happy because I'm an encourager, like, naturally. But yeah, that's been the number one thing. I don't share everything, not because I'm trying to be secretive, but I just don't. There's just some things that's just meant for me and my husband. There's just some things that's meant for me and the Lord, and that's just what that is.
Yeah. That is a great nugget of wisdom, and thank you for sharing. And girl, this has been such a pleasure and such a joy. So how can people find you? How can they connect with Mrs. Vikkie J?
Well, like you said, I do have a podcast, and so I'm getting ready to start back up another season next month. That's on all your major streaming platforms, but it's Talking with Vikkie J is my podcast, and that's VIKKIE space the letter J.
Yes.
Because they love to put a C in there. It's 2 Ks.
Yes.
Yes.
With the letter J, not J-A-Y.
Not J-A-Y. And follow me on Facebook or Instagram. And that's Talking. Now I'm going to have to spell that for y'all too. That's TALKIN with Vikkie J. Ain't no G, basically.
I love it. And thank you so much for joining. And to all of our listeners, I hope this inspired you to cultivate amazing sister friendships out there, and, you know, put in the work, set your boundaries, and do not forget that amazing nugget that Vikkie just dropped on us like a bomb. Do you understand? Let it sit with you, marinate in your soul. And then we're going to catch you on the next episode. And thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
We hope you enjoyed this podcast episode of the Ezer Mindset Podcast. Be sure to subscribe to stay connected and in the know of all upcoming inspiring conversations with Altimese Nicole and inspiring women from all around the world. Until next time, stay soft and fearless, Queen.